guy in the NBA should ever wear 23. I've been working on that shot my whole life, and for that one to go in, that was liberating right there, man.
And I'm not shoving it aside, like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about
23 Shots of JD podcast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 23 Shots of JD podcast. Just some sort of housekeeping stuff at the moment. Just I want to, I know it's weird sort of starting off the podcast like this, but I want to thank everyone who's listened so far and throughout this journey with the podcast and stuff. It's been quite surreal and quite amazing to see the amount of reception and positive feedback I've gotten from the podcast, and so has David. Even though he's no longer on the podcast, it's just great to see there's some continual listeners, people that just like the podcast or like the content, or maybe just like the people talking and stuff. It's just great to sort of appreciate, and it's sort of you could sort of see that with in Australia at least, we finally hit 100 reviews, 100 5-star reviews, which is pretty cool and pretty awesome that 100 people took out the time to go on iTunes and review and give it all 5 stars. Nothing lower than 5 stars is what we've gotten, so which is really, really great to see, and just some great comments as well. So first I want to thank you guys there. Also to an American audience, creeping up to nearly 500 5-star reviews, which is pretty ridiculous if you ask me. 500, about 475 or something, which is really, really cool. And obviously, I don't do the podcast for reviews or acclamations or anything like that, but it's just great to see that there's so many people that just like the podcast for what it is, and we and myself continuing we're just trying to put out the best content we can, and just keep it interesting, keep it fresh, and that sort of leads me to the next point where you guys are probably going to see some great stuff coming soon. I got some cool sort of things in the works and stuff, maybe just some different types of podcast stuff. Obviously this sort of weekly podcast that I've been doing for over nearly 8 months, I think 6 to 7 to 8 months. I'm not entirely sure, but how long this podcast has really been in existence. It's sort of been that weekly content and stuff like that, and I sort of want to expand the podcast to a degree and just sort of take it to like this new level or whatever. And so like I said, there might be some great stuff coming. It might not come for a couple weeks, or who knows what's going to happen, but definitely be in the lookout for some great stuff coming up, and some great content and great sort of new fresh ideas that I really want to put out on the podcast channel and stuff like that. But yeah, it's sort of just just want to start it off like that. Again, thank you to everyone that's listened, who's continually listened, or even the new listeners. First time listeners to this podcast. It's a bit weird that your intro to the podcast is just me rambling about sort of all the other listeners, but I appreciate you guys too, but yeah, I guess I don't, I guess in the basketball world, a lot of just weird sort of stuff happening. I don't know. It's just sort of like it's in that weird limbo period, especially with the NFL. I guess there's a baseball talk, but let's be honest, who really talks about baseball, But yeah, we're sort of in that weird off-season period where the basketball and NFL sort of just doesn't, there's no really void filling it. I guess if you're a fan of the EPL or soccer, that's definitely coming in. I think it's just started its first week, this week and whatever. So that's something you want to look to and look forward to if you're someone that likes to watch soccer. But it's just I really don't know. There's not really much to talk about basketball. Actually, one thing I did want to talk about basketball is there's so many people there's so many videos, Instagram posts or YouTube videos of people like doing like those pickup games in the gym. Like you see those Rico Hines one at UCLA. You see there's other ones with like the professional trainers and stuff like that. Just a bunch of people doing these pickup games. Like you see, what was a good example? Terry Rozier versus John Wall. There was that one. Rajon Rondo has some pickup games. Just a lot of pickup games. A lot of basketball being played, and I'm quite sort of not intrigued, but just a bit confused that NBA teams sort of let them do this, because in these pickup games, I guess, I don't know if they're playing lightly, but to me they're not playing lightly. They're pretty, they're putting on a contest, they're putting on a show, and you could see it's very egotistical to a degree, because you see John Wall and Terry Rozier, for example, they're really muscling up against each other, trying to prove who's the better man or better basketball player, better guard, whatever you want to call it. So it's quite interesting to see that teams really allow their players to do these pickup games, not only just because of that factor, but I guess the most important factor is injuries and stuff, because, imagine if someone gets injured, maybe they step on a foot, they, get some bad ankle sprain, or, worse, maybe knee problems, or just any other problems, back problems, whatever, during these pickup games, and they have to go to their coach or their team or team doctor and be like, "Yeah, man, like I injured myself trying to dunk on John Wall in a pickup game." It's sort of, it's just like, well, yeah, these teams pay you like $30 million, and you're sort of liable for the, as a job or as an employee, to really sort of uphold the contract and stuff like that. And I'm surprised there's no stipulations like that, because obviously I know in a lot of basketball contracts, there's sort of stipulations regarding to winter sports, so like they're not allowed to snowboard or ski and stuff like that, which to me, is it really, I don't realize it's really that harmful, because if everyone's got travel insurance or whatever, they don't include like snowboarding or anything like that in the insurance package either. So is it just me, or is it, I didn't think snowboarding was that dangerous or skiing was that dangerous, but I guess potentially so. But yeah, back to the actual topic at hand, I'm just surprised that they're allowing these NBA players to play pickup games. But I guess it's cool to see the great content like on YouTube and stuff from people, showcasing these. It's like the thing about these pickup games as well. It's like there's some not scrubs, obviously. Like NBA players are true scrub, but like these random NBA players that you just know are like the 13th man, and they're just tearing it up. Like they're just giving it to people in these pickup games. I guess other professional athletes, like other like NBA caliber, borderline star to star players, they're giving it to them, and you're like, bruh, was this the whole season? When was this the whole season? When was this 2017? Like, I saw a video of Lance Stevenson playing in a pickup game, and he was killing it. Like, man was boom, 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 dribble three, just could not miss from three. And if anyone knows the 3-point percentage, it's garbage. So is it weird that like he's just killing the 3-pointers from the pickup games? He's hissing, filleting on all these people, but yet he wasn't really doing that for the Hornets, or Indiana, say, who he was playing with. He wasn't really doing that for Indiana, and Indiana could have used that during the NBA playoffs or whatever. But I don't know, maybe some the Lakers touch is really rubbing off on him, and he's gonna just go out and kill it there. But yeah, it's just overall weird that these people or these NBA players are just going so hard in these pickup games, dependent on how the NBA team feels about that. But yeah, it's just a bit confusing. But another, I guess, talking about LA and stuff like that, it's weird. I know it's sort of late news, but I really want to discuss upon it before. The whole all these people vandalizing LeBron James's murals. It's sort of, I just don't really understand it. It's sort of like the best player in the world, the best player arguably in this generation, best player maybe ever to be seen, not my opinion, but a lot of other people's opinions, and you sort of just deface a mural. Obviously, I know it's like these hardcore Kobe Bryant fans, like hardcore, but like, I don't think Kobe and LeBron really weren't like that. They weren't rivaling that hard. Like, obviously, it was pretty clear that LeBron was going to be the next, the next person in the, I guess, in the cycle or whatever. So it goes like, MJ, and then it goes Kobe, and I guess it's obviously subsequently led to LeBron. But I just don't understand. Kobe and LeBron weren't really like that, Like, they weren't really hustling, or there wasn't really that rivalry. It's sort of just a mutual competitive respect. So I don't see why all these Kobe fanboys or Kobe dick riders or whatever just vandalizing all these great murals by some great artists. And like, I guess it could have been started from that one situation where the guy defaced a Kobe mural with the LeBron picture on the face, the one on Melrose Avenue, which was cool. Actually, I've actually been there. It was actually pretty cool to see that that mural, and shouts out to the guy who actually painted it. He liked one of my Instagram photos, so shouts out to him, man. But I guess it could have cultivated from there, but overall, I don't think wrecking LeBron James's murals. It's just, like what does that do? What does that prove to anyone? If anything, it just hinders not only the artist's work, but I guess the Lakers organization and actual proper Laker fans who sort of, mate, what has the Lakers done in the past 4 or 5 years, man? Like, they have done nothing. They've literally done nothing. So to finally do something, especially on the back of Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, they actually been able to lift the organization out of its treacherous run, and then you go out and do this BS. Like, man, like, step up your game. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, in any other you don't see Juventus fans when Ronaldo came to Juventus defacing his murals because they're like, oh, we wanted we wanted Buffon or whatever. Like I know, I guess the comparative or the parallels are really different, but sort of the same, similar line. Like, a cult hero for the organization leaves or retires, etc., and then the best player, arguably in the game, comes to that team, and then they deface the murals. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you really doing? But sort of just like, I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating because it's just like, again, why? Why would you do that? Why? Like, just appreciate it. And like, not only did they do it one time, they did it 2 times before. Like, they did it for the first time. I guess the first one was pretty provocative because it was like the king of LA. Look at me, I own the place. And I guess from a standpoint of someone like Kobe, who's really proven himself and he's gone through the trenches, he had the 3-peat, then he had those hard years, and then he got Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum, and then won the 2-peat. I guess I could see like why Kobe fans would be like, well, this is disrespectful. Like, man hasn't proved anything yet. He comes in and now he's like the king of LA. Ridiculous. So I guess to a point or a degree I can see that. But the other one, when he's looking up to all the superstars like Wilt, I think it was Kobe, Magic, might have been Shaq. I don't know who the 4. I think it was Kareem, sorry. Kareem as well. So, like, I don't understand why that one was offensive, because at least he's looking up and he's sort of like, I want to get to that level. And as everyone's probably aware or everyone knows, the only way to get to that level is, oh, what a surprise, win a championship. So at least he's striving, at least they're sort of metaphorically articulating that he needs to win a championship to get to their level. And, mate, the Lakers organization really desperately needs a championship to keep relevant, or I guess not keep relevant because they're always going to be relevant, but keep this image that people, or keep this image of success, and that people associate the organization as the top tier of basketball. Because over the past 5 years, like I said, literally have done nothing at all. But I guess it's sort of just what it is as well. What else? I guess one quick thing I want to mention as well. I guess all this stuff is sort of late news because the last podcast I sort of wanted to push through, and like I said, great thanks to everyone with some great reception. But yeah, one thing as well is sort of the Danny Green groin tear that it was playing with throughout the whole season. And I know Danny Green sort of on his podcast or one of the other podcasts, I'm not sure. All these NBA players have podcasts now, which whatever, but yeah, I don't know if it was. I don't think he was intentionally trying to throw shade at the Spurs organization, but I guess it sort of just re-puts Kawhi in a different light. Like, now Kawhi sort of saying like, maybe he's actually right and the Spurs organization is wrong, because I guess it's become synonymous that the Spurs organization does it the right way. They're always correct. They're always right. From shooting mechanics to, the way they train, the way they rest players, they've sort of been the forefront of all these different changes throughout the NBA. And, it's sort of hard to question Popovich and the organization to be in any situation wrong. So I guess with the whole news of Danny Green tearing his groin or whatever, and then they were forced to play, do we really get mad at Kawhi getting a second consultation? Like, is it really that bad that he tried to do it? And obviously, I guess, all the antics and the subsequent results from all that sort of charades and stuff that happened made it, I guess, makes Kawhi even worse or whatever. But I guess at the maybe at the crux of the issue, perhaps maybe Kawhi was right. So I just want to put it out there because I know I bashed Kawhi on this podcast previously, saying like, what a coward, what a B, like all that stuff. So yeah, Kawhi, if you're listening, mate. You might be correct now. You might be right. So I don't know. Who knows, mate? Who really knows? But yeah, I guess I really don't know, man. Kawhi just better play well for the Raptors, man. Raptors fans, Canadian fans, whatever, man. Like, I hope you guys really, get the business out there, man. So, hopefully that happens. But I guess sort of piggybacking Toronto, and the whole Kawhi situation, and we all know that Kawhi's looking for a share deal. I guess, and I get a weird transition sort of to Drake, and I guess we talked about it on the podcast, or me and David talked about it on the podcast before, that Drake was with this affiliation with Adidas. He was going to come up with a line with Adidas because he hated the lack of creative control that Jordan Brand gave him or whatever. So he was going to jump to Adidas, and then the whole idea of his new line called Adidon, based around his son. And then obviously we know what happened with that whole line, where Pusha T just obliterated it. Like, Pusha T said, "Oh wait, you're coming up with an Adidas line? Boom! Wait, you coming out with that? Boom, boom, boom! Take that, bruh." So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I don't know what happened with that, whatever. But he sort of addresses it on the song Sicko Mode, which is, I guess, as a song as a whole, is a pretty interesting song, and I don't mind it, or I don't, dislike it. It's alright, but he does say this pretty cool line in the song. Let me just quickly get it up. Get it up. Get it up. Here we go. Whoops. Whoa. Mayday. Here we go. Yeah. Just buddy like I'm Shaq with the not mad banger, good on take keys for the bars. But yeah, in the line he said checks over stripes. That's what I like. Yeah, so Drake to Nike? Is this the move? Drake to Nike? Obviously Drake's a big name, and he's definitely gonna garner a lot of traction or whatever. So is Nike gonna be their new sort of flagship celebrity? Because obviously we know with the whole Yeezy situation how he bounced. I guess maybe Drake's the way to go, and I don't know if Nike believes that the whole situation with Drake surrounding what Pusha T put out there and his whole baby mama situation and stuff like that, if Nike as the brand itself can overcome all that controversy, whatever, which Nike's a massive brand that could definitely do that. But yeah, it's just an interesting pivot to see Drake go to Nike. I think that's sort of where he belonged the whole time. I guess he was with Jumpman, had the whole series of Jumpman and stuff like that, and now he's going to Nike. It's sort of like not going too far from the tree, or not too far from the apple. You know what I mean? It's sort of staying within the same organization. He's probably going to be dealing with at least similar people or somewhat the same people. So I guess it might be more of a familiarity with Drake, and Nike sort of needs to step up the game. I guess we see Puma's really trying to make it big out here. They got Rihanna, they got the Jenners, they got who else have they got? They got The Weeknd. They're making moves in the celebrity game, and not only that, mentioned before throughout this podcast in previous episodes, they're making moves in the basketball. They have Smith, who might be injured. Hopefully he's healthy and stuff like that. DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, and then they got Michael Porter Jr. And if anyone wants to see Michael Porter Jr.'s Instagram, you saw that he flexed that he was on the Puma jet, which, take for what it is, mate. You better stop playing, or else Puma's going to regret putting you on that jet. But yeah, they're making moves. So yeah, Nike's got to step up the game. Besides retros, to me, they haven't really done much. Because, like I said, they've just been retroing old stuff, like the 95s, the 97s, all the Jordan line stuff. They sort of just been not really surviving, but sort of been able to stay highly relevant in the game by just releasing these old pairs that sort of bring out that sort of feeling of, what's the word, man? Now I'm blanking, but you know what I mean, like that feeling of just that's what I liked back in the day and stuff like that. Which, God, I know what the word is. Man, now I'm gonna sound like an idiot because I don't know what the word is, but you definitely know what I mean, guys. So yeah, it's just interesting that he's sort of gone that route. But yeah, all to it, all power to him. I hope he comes up with a dope shoe though. That would be pretty cool. Like, I know this shoe's gonna get hyped anyway, and people are gonna love it. But if it's not a dope shoe, then you know what I mean. It sort of just not only makes Nike look bad, but definitely makes Drake look bad. Because then everyone's gonna, Drake's gonna become synonymous that, this is a dud shoe, you're a dud guy. Because everyone already knows that his fashion sense is trash. He's got the most garbage fashion sense. Like, besides wearing tracksuit, he doesn't really know how to dress. He puts Supreme on Preem. He's got Bait Preem and all the other hypebeast brands together. It's just like, Stone Island. At least you can't even go wrong with Stone Island most of the time. But somehow he doesn't really look fly in Stone Island. It's just, he's not really a fashion icon. So for him, he's really good. He could really change his identity by having a dope shoe, but he can't really do that. Who really knows? But yeah, I guess the whole Drake situation, the whole Nike Drake situation is just interesting to me, and it's sort of indicative of, like I said, of what Nike's sort of trying to do. So who knows what's gonna happen with them? But yeah, actually, I really wanted to talk about this one, like UberPOOL. I don't know if other countries have UberPOOL. I don't even know if Australia still does UberPOOL. But like, I remember like a lot of countries were doing UberPOOL, and also no, a lot of I remember Australia was doing UberPOOL, and they're doing a mad promotion about it. They had billboards, TV advertisement. They had like a bunch of promotion around it, and basically it's sort of the shtick around it was it's 70% cheaper than regular Uber. And as a stingy mofo like myself, I was like, you know what, I gotta say that 70%. So basically, I was in Manly, and I needed to get to work because I slept over at someone's house, whatever, and basically, yeah, I had to get from Manly to the city, which I guess contextually for a lot of viewers they probably wouldn't really understand, but that's about a regular drive, maybe about 45-ish minutes, maybe. I'll say around 45 minutes to be safe. Anywhere, give or take maybe 10 to 15 minute leeway depending on traffic or, just the weather or whatever. So, yeah, maybe about 45 minutes. So I already knew that. I was like, gee, this is going to be a big trip. Just think about it logically. If anyone's used Uber in Australia, like a 5 to 10 minute trip itself is just like probably $15 to $20. I know it's pretty outrageous. So I guess just multiply that by what? 3 or 4 times. That's how much I was looking at paying for just a regular Uber. So, like I said, the stingy man like myself, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna risk UberPOOL. I'm gonna risk UberPOOL and jump in it. And yeah, I jumped into UberPOOL, and basically, like I said, I was in it. It was a bit weird because you sort of got to wait. There's like a weird grace period between you ordering the Uber and you actually getting in the Uber. Sort of like some weird 10-minute grace period where I think during that time they're trying to locate other potential passengers that might be on the same route or end up going through the same route or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It was a bit weird. It was my first time trying it, and I just wanted to experiment. So yeah, jumped on it, got in the car, met the Uber driver who was a pretty dope Uber driver. I was like, he was just sort of just like, what do you want to bump? I was like, bump whatever you want, dude. And then he was bumping some heavy stuff, like Freddie Gibbs, borderline stuff. I was like, yo, dude, man, my man's listen to Freddie Gibbs. My man's a G right there. But yeah, he was sort of going. I was like, all right, this seems cool. Who knows what's gonna happen? And then boom, pick up with the first passenger, and he jumps into the car, and it's weird as well because you don't know you sort of know where everyone's going, but not really at the same time. Mostly the driver knows where you're going. I guess the general, if you look on the Uber, there's a generalized route of how you're going to get to your individual destination. But yeah, you sort of jump in, and then basically he's just driving through this route. And I was like, all right, maybe talking to the guy next to me, he's like, yeah, I'm heading to the city as well. I was like, wow, the odds were quite convenient, whatever. So basically driving through towards the city, and then basically he's like, you just keep going straight to the city, and if you turn right, you're pretty much screwed, because then it's going to take you another half an hour to get to the city. Basically, he turned right, and then me and the guy next to me, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, we sort of fucked ourselves here. because I was already in a bit of a time crunch. I don't know if I was going to make it or not, but turns right, whatever. And we're like, okay, this is going to be the situation. Turns right. And then the guy next to me sort of goes, dude, I'm going to cancel my Uber because I really need to get there. I'm going to just grab an individual Uber. So I was like, whatever, man. And I was talking to Uber driver. I was like, is that going to affect my pricing? Because, I want to pay that little minimum, So, yeah, he was like, yeah, just jump. It should be fine. We just got to get more passengers, whatever. Which I was like, more passengers? Are you serious, dude? So, yeah, the man jumps out of the car and I was like, yeah, whatever. And so we're driving, and then we pick up. How do I say? We pick up the most beautiful woman I might have ever seen in my life. Just an absolute, just dream girl type of woman. I was like, yo, this girl's just wow, And she comes in and she goes, oh hi, blah blah blah, and then. Sort of, we're heading to the city, and basically now it's sort of just two of us. We're heading to the city. We're already 30 minutes behind, or I'm 30 minutes behind what I was projected to go to. So I'm basically running late to where I need to get to. I was like, I'm gonna cop it because I'm sitting next to such a beautiful woman, and so I'm sitting next to her, and then we're just trying to chat up a storm, whatever. I was like, where are you from? What do you do? She was like, blah 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 blah, and then she was like, oh, what do you do? Where are you from? Blah 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 blah. And if no one's really aware of I guess a lot of people don't really know how I chat up. I am one of the worst people to sort of talk to women, I guess, in regards to just trying to flirt or something. I'm very sort of intellectual and very blunt and straight to the point, so it might be hard for me to sort of flirt and stuff like that, I guess. But yeah, I was trying to do my best because Jesus, Lord might have just gave me a blessing here because I was like, this is an absolute smoke show. But yeah, we're driving to see, and basically her point of her destination was before my destination, so she gets out of the car, she says goodbye, I says goodbye, she leaves the car, and at that moment I realized, geez, Jordan, what an idiot, I should have, shoot my shot. I should have taken advantage of the opportunity. I should have asked for a number or Facebook details, or hit me up in the DMs in Instagram, Twitter. Should have flexed, the 23 Shots of JD podcast, just something to get this girl's details or be able to contact her or whatever. So she jumps out of the car, and we're heading back towards my destination, which is probably another 5 to 10 minutes. And everyone has that weird situation with the Uber driver where it's just complete silence, and you don't know if you want to start a conversation, he doesn't know if he wants to start a conversation, and because of that weird just mystery or unknowingness to really start the conversation, no conversation starts at all. So we're sort of just sitting there blank, and I was really beating on myself. I was like, geez, man, Jordan, what do you got to do? He's such an idiot. You should have done it. You always do this, Jordan. You got to ask for that girl's number. She seems sort of keen on you. You're definitely keen on her. And yes, I agree with my mind. I was definitely keen on her. But yeah, I was sort of like, geez, what should I do? And then popped into my mind. I was like, do I ask the Uber driver for her number? Because obviously he has contact details. Obviously, anyone that's familiar with Uber, which would be most people, know that your contact details are fixated with your profile and stuff like that, so they could call you to see where you are and stuff. So that just sort of popped in my mind. I was like, this guy's got her number. Do I ask him for the number? Like, do I ask him? And I sort of had that conflict in my brain. I'm like, it's sort of weird if I ask him for the number. Like, I don't know. It's just sort of, is that invading in her personal space? Because, she didn't give me consent, or is it just weird because the Uber driver might think it's weird or whatever? And I was like, geez, Jordan, do I ask? Do I not? Do I ask? Do I not? And basically, I came to the conclusion that, you know what, I'm just gonna ask. And I go to the Uber driver, go, what's up, man? Just a quick question. You know the girl that sort of just got out of the car? And he's just like, oh, yeah. I was like, do you have a number by any chance? Because I think I was going to ask for a number, but I don't know, I just got lost in a moment or whatever. And he goes, oh, yeah, I have a number. Of course, it's right in her details. And I was like, oh, sweet. Could I just grab her number? And at that point, I was like, yeah, dude, I'm in the clear. He's going to give me my number. Best Uber driver. 5-star review instantly. But there was a caveat. He sort of paused and he sort of said, you want her number? And I was like, yeah, man, I just want her number. Just maybe I want to, talk to her or whatever. I thought there was a bit of chemistry. And the man turns around and he goes, mate, you had no hope. And I don't want to be racially, I can't really do an Indian accent at all, but he basically turned around and said it in a very typical Indian accent, saying, bro, you have no chance. And mate, do you know how that feels, getting destroyed by your Uber driver? Like, the Uber driver knows, like, everyone knows that when you're taking Uber, there's such a weird relationship with you and the Uber driver, because you, as a passenger, need to be on your best behavior because you want to get 5 stars, and because you have a 5-star reputation, more Uber drivers want to pick you up. And then the same relationship is felt by the Uber driver. The Uber driver wants to get 5 stars from you because he knows the more 5 stars he gets, the more people will trust him in them using his service, whatever. And basically, just think about that context, right? This guy had the balls. He had the audacity, or maybe he just believed deep down in his soul and his heart that I had really no chance with this woman, that he turned around and goes, bro, you have no chance. Risking, knowing that he's risking this 5-star review, because I could have been like, you know what, F this Uber driver, he really just dissed me on the spot right now. Boom, 1 star, you're done. But he tucked in his balls and it was like, turned around, you have no chance. And because I laughed, I was like, you serious, dude? And he's like, have you seen her? And I was like, bro, I would definitely see her. And he goes, have you seen you? And I was like, you got a point, mate. So basically, I still gave him the 5-star. He gave me a 5-star. And it was just a mutual respect there. But yeah, it was just a great, interesting story with UberPOOL. I don't know if they do it anymore, but yeah, UberPOOL, man, it could be the vibe if you're trying to, pick up or meet new people. Because at least that was only my only experience, and my only experience was a really good experience. So who knows? Should say as well with the story that I ended up being 45 minutes late to where I needed to be, which maybe if if you're really in a time crunch, probably not the best option. But if you want to potentially meet some good-looking women, or have a great vibe with an Uber driver or whatever, it's probably the way to go. So who knows with Uber and stuff how it's going to keep going. But basically, yeah, it was just a great UberPOOL was just a great experience. And I'm not sure if they still do it around here, but I'll definitely try it. Like, if I'm maybe that could be a thing for me to do, just keep going on UberPOOL experiences and just report back to the podcast, be like, another UberPOOL experience report. Or even more interesting, I could do imagine doing like an UberPOOL interview or like an UberPOOL podcast, like with the passengers in there or something. Or I wonder if that exists. Anyone hit me up in an email or Twitter at 23shotsofjd, or email 23shotsofjd@gmail.com if that's even a thing, like UberPOOL podcast, also Uber podcast, because that would be pretty dope. And Uber, if you take that idea, if someone takes that idea, screw you, because it's patent pending. So yeah, patent pending. You can't do that, mate. So yeah, basically, yeah, it was just a good experience. But yeah, it's just a weird thing that sort of occurred. What else? Back to uni. I don't know how many listeners, definitely my Australian listeners would know that for most people it's back to uni. I don't know what really demographic. Like, it's weird that I can't really get analytics on what ages sort of listen to the podcast, but it'll be great to see. And maybe email me email. Jeez, that sounds weird now. I was gonna say email me how old you are. That sounds so weird. That sounds really pedophilic to a point. That's weird. Mate, don't email me your age, but email me just cool stuff about maybe what you do, your occupation, maybe what you study in uni and stuff. Just, yeah, I guess I shouldn't phrase it, email me your age, because actually that leads me to a funny story. I was actually, my roommate, he was playing Rocket League, and if no one's familiar with Rocket League, it's a pretty weird game. It's pretty just odd game. It's soccer, but with cars. Yep, that's basically what it is. It's soccer with cars. And yeah, my roommate he was sort of playing, and then he ended up playing with what we can only presume as a elementary school kid. We cannot confirm that. Maybe he's in high school with a really high voice. Maybe he's a teacher with a really high voice. We don't know how old this guy is, so we can't confirm. But this guy, based on just my perception, elementary school kid. So basically, my roommate was playing with him, and like this guy was bleeding to get to this high level, and they were playing with each other, they were vibing, and the kid keeps going like, he's trying to strike up a conversation, but my friend doesn't have any headphones or whatever, so we're just basically hearing this one-way conversation. And my roommate are just hearing this one-way conversation with this kid, and basically, we're just like, yo, low-key, like, imagine if we were just, imagine if a pedophile was playing with this kid, how weird, this kid's playing with a guy and he's trying to talk to this guy or whatever, and it's like, lucky we're just regular, normal people, or at least you think we are, but yeah, at least we're regular, normal people, and, he could be, who knows who he thinks we're talking to, but imagine if we just, hit him up and was just like, oh yeah, like my friend, like imagine, like that's a dangerous game, especially for kids and stuff. And I know, especially for me, when I was like going hard on COD and especially COD Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops and stuff, I was just trying to play with anyone. I was trying to squad up. It's Halo, get the clans going and stuff like that. So yeah, imagine if you're really talking to another one. Like my friend was thinking like, yo. Imagine, like, the kid easily would have gave any of his details. We could have been like, oh, how old are you? What school do you go to? Or do you walk to school? Whatever. Like, we could have like sent so many really, really bad or really intimate details that could have led to some really weird stuff if we were the wrong type of people. But, yeah, it's like, it's just some weird dangers out of the game world. And I don't know. I sort of left gaming. I was a hard gamer. Like I said, I was like COD. I was COD, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops. Like that was the thing, man. That was my shit. And then I started going hard on like NBA 2K from like 2K10 when it was like the Kobe Bryant Special Edition, all the way now. I started getting hard on FIFA. I'm more of a sports gaming type. Like even UFC was a good sports gaming type. I wasn't really much into sort of like the action games. GTA, probably one of the best games ever. GTA is a really, really good game, but yeah, I don't know. I sort of got sidetracked there, but yeah, it's sort of just weird how what type of people you met on PlayStation and stuff. But yeah, like I said, back to uni. And so if I don't know what the situation is with the US. I think they might. I really don't know how the situation in the US or the UK is. But yeah, in Australia we're back to uni and stuff, and just so many. When you go to your classrooms or when you go to lectures, you just see so many people that are just like, I just don't want to be here. Like they just straight up, like you could just tell I don't want to be here. And at some points, sometimes I'm that type of person when I'm just like, I don't just want to be here. I don't want to be in class. I don't want to learn about this. It's so boring. It's uninteresting. And I feel like that's a big trend with a lot of university students, at least in Australia, because every friend that I've made at university, or everyone that I talk to, or anyone that I have a great conversation with or whatever, they always come to this conclusion that it's either they don't like uni or they hate uni, or uni has not prepared them best for their professional lives or professional endeavors or whatever, and that their sort of internships and stuff have made them learn so much more, if not more, not so much more, like learn them everything that they need to pursue their professional life rather than university. And I don't want to shame university, because university obviously is a great fundamental place for education, and it facilitates people, especially if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, even an engineer to a degree. You definitely need to go through the straps in university, because they're going to best serve you to be to work in that profession, But I think things like, business, I guess, is sort of a degree that's, what are they really teaching you? Commerce. It's just so broad and so just generalized that, like I said, it doesn't really prepare you for professional life, and that actual work place experience is the most fundamental thing for you to really succeed in you pursuing, your desired professional career. But one thing I actually learned in the university was a sort of thing called compulsory land acquisition. I don't know if they have it in other countries or whatever, but basically in Australia, like if you, hey, just what are you doing, mate? Just the roommate just walks in and just. Yeah, I know. It's sort of lonely, dude. It's sort of just like I'm just looking at the fish tank and I'm just like, man, I wish I wish there was someone talking to me. But yeah, basically it was like, basically just government can just wreck your shit up. It's pretty fucked. Like they were saying, basically compulsory land acquisition is like, let's say if you live near a train station or they want to build a school, whatever, they can just go up to you or go to your place and say, we're gonna buy your land or we're gonna buy your house, and you can do nothing about it. And the worst thing about that as well is that they only pay market value. So let's say if your house at market value is like maybe like $1.5 million or whatever, that's what they're gonna pay. But who knows? Maybe if you went to auction and you sold it to like another buyer, whatever, it could easily reach $3 to $4 million. So you could be losing almost half, or almost like you could have made like double the amount of money that you could have done if you went to auction or whatever. So it's one of those weird things that compulsory land acquisition exists, because you think like you buy the house or you buy the land or you buy the property or whatever, and you sort of like, it's just mine, but the government just comes in and says, oh wait, that's not really yours, I'm just gonna buy it, and you can't do anything about it. Like literally can't do anything about it. Like basically there was like this big case study where they were doing like a $300 million, like $500 million project or whatever, and they're trying to buy all these houses, and basically all the residents in the houses and stuff just refuse to. And now I don't know what the situation is now. It could be ongoing or whatever, but basically it's sort of, it's just a weird limbotic thing where it's like how you gonna mend these types of people or these societies if you can just sort of, there's no actual ownership to anything you have. And I know like obviously people that know political ideals like liberalism or neoliberalism, whatever like that, sort of believe in that free market, less government intervention stuff, probably agree with what I'm trying to say. It's like, there should be some type of regulations where the government can't just do that, because you're just displacing people out of their homes. And obviously someone's gonna say, oh, but they get money anyway, and it's like, well, they're not getting the money that they potentially could deserve. Market value is so subjective. What the real estate price of the house could be 20 to 30% off either way, less or more. So for someone to really objectify how much a house is sort of BS, in my assumption. But in the other circumstance, like, if they need to build a school in that suburb, and I guess your land has sort of been demonized as a potential landing for that school, is your house, are you going to be the reason to deny all these kids potential education and stuff like that? So, it is a fine line that you got to tread or whatever. But yeah, so it's just an interesting thing that I did learn in university, whilst a lot of, on Facebook and stuff, because, like I said, man, university is one of those things where it's like, it's just, I don't know, you look at it as chore and stuff, it's just what do you want to do, what do you want to, all that stuff. And like, I don't know, some of the lectures, man, are so BS. Lectures are so BS, and it sucks when they don't put up like any content besides the lecture recording, because then you have to listen to like 2 hours of this guy just blabbing on about nothing even relevant to the course, and then you're like, well, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, I don't know, but actually hit me up and email me if, I don't know if they have this in America or like the UK or whatever, but definitely in Australia there's like all these Facebook pages called like your like university rants or whatever, or like a particular university and then rant, and they just basically it's just a forum for all these people just to rant about their university. And like, I had a friend who actually just recently ranted on it, saying just like, oh, it's BS. If they teach the exact same content on all these classes, I'm just gonna just burn the school. Obviously he's saying this tongue in cheek, but what I mean, he's sort of just ranting about university. So it'd be pretty interesting to see, email me or tweet me at any of your university events, whatever. It'd be great to see if there's any parallels or whatever to, what you guys sort of experience and what we experience over here. But I don't know. It seems like, I guess in America, so there's such a strong college diehard obsession compared to like people like here in Australia, And I guess the dynamics are different, because in Australia there's a lot more people commuting to universities. I think it's called commuters or whatever. I'm not sure what the terminology they use in America is, but they do call it commuting, where people basically, because the universities are so central in the city, especially more of the popular universities, at least in Sydney, people travel to the university rather than actually boarding or staying there. Whilst it's contrastively different in America, where I know a lot of universities, like first year students have to board at the university, or boarding's just the culture there. So it's weird that it's so weird though. Americans have like this mad obsession. You see people like 50-year-old people, like 80-year-old people, just going, yeah, go Kansas, go Kentucky, go to Jayhawks, yeah, go to Wildcats. Like, bro, you're 80, you were there for 4 years, as if there's nothing, as if like nothing has led you more or like greater your horizons rather than that university period. But I don't know, maybe I'm just a hater. Email me again if I'm just a hater, but sort of what it is. One thing it's still at 45 minutes. I don't know if this might be the closing topic or not, but one thing I actually really want to talk about was the Kanye West interview and Jimmy Kimmel. It was if no one's really seen it, it's like there's a 10-minute version where he sort of talks about Trump, or you look at the 20-minute sort of full interview that he did on Jimmy Kimmel, and it was it's pretty interesting. It was pretty cool, and it's sort of like a great deep dive into the mind of Kanye West, and it's sort of, at least for myself, to put Kanye West in a whole different perspective, because like he sort of mentions throughout the interview, people look at him as crazy or neurotic or just weird in layman's terms, basically. But as he explains, it's sort of, I don't know, he might be thinking on a higher level than a lot of us. He's sort of opened up a lot of ideas that are really, I guess, not necessarily thought of, but I don't know, it's weird to explain. It was sort of just a great interview to watch, and he sort of extrapolated a lot of different notions, including, I guess, like I said, he goes in on Trump, and not necessarily why he supports Trump, but more so why he shouldn't be demonized for supporting Trump. And I guess in that circumstance, or sort of the arguments he displayed, it's quite agreeable. Like, what, it's his opinion, and why should he be demonized or hated for his opinion? Because it's all about free choice and free speech or stuff like that. And now we're seeing people with like Alex Jones on InfoWars, the podcast, or we've seen in past people like Milo Yiannopoulos and stuff getting banned from social media platforms. That this notion of free speech is really getting challenged and sort of getting I don't know, like I said, just challenged. And it's a bit weird to see, but it's good to see someone like Kanye West really go out and in the Jimmy Kimmel interview, tell sort of, not his story necessarily, but explain to everyone sort of his points of views and stuff like that. And I actually got this great clip from the interview where let's see what he says. Here we go. It's actually a really good clip from the interview. Let me put it on. Here we go.
The objectifying. Do you feel like your attitude towards women has changed since having daughters?
Nah, I still look at Pornhub and
What kind of stuff do you look at? What categories?
Mate, get this man. Didn't he say, wasn't the MTV interview or the awards, he said 2020 president? Get my man's in the office, because hilarious, man, hilarious. And if you keep watching the interview, basically he says like, his favorite his favorite what was it, his favorite category is like black on white, which highly obvious. I thought it was gonna say like his favorite video to watch was his. It would be weird if he sort of, watched his wife's, I don't know, maybe Jimmy Kimmel should have gone in depth and said if he watched or has watched his wife's sex, or like, let's assume that he's watched his wife's sex tape with Ray J, but like, imagine if he just got turned on by that type of shit. That would be pretty weird if he just liked watching, because that, technically black and white, I can tell you right now, that's probably the most viewed black and white porn video on Pornhub, in my opinion. It has to be. And that, who knows what Kanye West is doing, but I guess, I sort of wanted to, throw a bit of comedic stuff in there, but basically, holistically, Kanye sort of sustains this. It's sort of just. It's sort of. He has this ambiotic feel, or just this type of aura around him, which is like really infatuating. Because I guess someone comparative, or someone that tries to be like him, is sort of FoodieTube, and I don't know how many people know about FoodieTube or watch FoodieTube or even interested in this type of topic. But I did want to speak about it because it's really. It's a really disturbing, I guess, type of thing to talk about, because who knows how he's really feeling, if this is all legitimate or if he's going through some manic episode. But basically, just a quick rundown on FoodieTube. If you don't know him, he was one of the biggest sort of YouTubers back in the day. He amassed 10 million YouTube subscribers before that became a regular thing. So he was really a pioneer in I guess, a YouTube personality, and he was, world renowned for his pranks. I put that in quotation because all his pranks were fake, and his social experiments, which were also fake. So, yeah, he was that's sort of how he grew, and then he started vlogging and all this other stuff. But basically, that's what he was known for, being just a famous guy on YouTube, and, he sort of spawned out of control, I guess, and he sort of talked about it openly, about his whole depression and just mental illness. His battle with mental illness and stuff like that. So I guess keeping that in context, basically you could say maybe had a revival or had a resurgence basically back into the YouTube world, and especially with his main channel with 10 million followers. And he basically put out this proclamation that he was going to, make this concert called Hate Dies, Love Arrives. And he was going to have, one of the greatest lineups of all time. He was going to have Drake. He was going to have Travis Scott. He was going to have a bunch of people apparently at the concert or at the festival itself. He had Mano. He had, who else did he have? He had members of Dipset. People that know Lonzo Ball and stuff. He had DC the Don. He had a bunch of artists there which sort of were trying to support himself. He had other YouTube personalities like Keemstar, Adam22, Bradley Martin, Alex Wasabi, Faith Virago and stuff. So he had a lot of people supporting him as well, especially big YouTubers like that. That's like collectively probably tens of millions of subscribers right there. So yeah, he sort of had this big backing or whatever. But basically, like, I guess, he sort of put, like I said at the start of the thing, he put out this audacious statement that he was going to have Drake. He was begging to Drake. He was kept tweeting to Drake. He had Instagram videos of him, vibing and praying to Drake's songs and stuff. And he kept going through this notion that if you believe or if you can perceive your ideas, basically reiterating, if anyone's read the book The Secret, it's basically reiterating the steps or the crux of what the statement, crux of what The Secret is. He was basically just repeating that in video form and saying that if you believe and you can perceive your ideas and manifest them, they will come true. And he was, was just putting out in the environment like, Drake, come, I want you to come, I believe you're going to come. And, I guess he didn't come, but that's because, he got shut down because of a bomb threat and stuff like that. So who knows if it was really coming or not. And FoodieTube, still proclaimed that he was going to come. On the live stream itself, it said 2 million concurrent viewers, and he will definitely come. So, who knows and stuff like that. But the reason why I want to say it is because it was sort of hard to watch, because people knew people are aware or cognitive about his mental illness, and it sort of looked like he was having a manic type of episode. Like, it was just like this kid who was like on this massive sugar rush, just a bunch of adrenaline, and had all these thoughts that were, that sort of were just like someone that you knew didn't really have a grip on reality. And I guess, who are we to judge what reality is to other, to certain people? But like, to put out audacious statements like, I want Drake, and a bunch of other artists, I forgot, he basically named anyone under the sun to try and come to his concert. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but apparently he said he has Live Nation backing him. He has Ticketmaster backing him for another big concert. One of his big claims that he recently said was he's going to be at J. Cole's concert. He's going to be an opener for J. Cole's concert, not as a music artist, but he's going to be a motivational speaker, which, is that even going to happen? And if it does happen, how's the crowd going to be receptive? Like, imagine if you go into a concert and then the opening act the opening act is sort of to set the mood, set the vibe, get people, get the blood flowing around the people, especially in the mosh, they're jumping, bouncing, all that stuff. It's about preparing for the main act or whatever. And imagine if Fudichu walks up and he sort of gives out this, motivational speech or whatever, and what type of mood does that put the people in? Obviously, some people are going to be inspired and awed by it, but a lot of I'm going to guess a large majority or large percentage of the crowd's going to be like, yo, what the fuck is this shit? I'm here for J. Cole, chuckling other people from Dreamville like JID or Bass or stuff like that. Like, what's this bald head dude doing up here, giving out some bullshit advice or whatever? So it's just a bit odd that he's gone up and proclaimed that, and he went on another podcast, Culturecast, which I don't mind shouting out because I really like that podcast with Bradley Martin. He basically said, like, if he sat in a room with no interaction with anyone from the outside world, that event will still him opening up for J. Cole will still happen, which I don't know, again, it's just hard to see because, who knows if he's actually going through some hardcore manic episode, but I guess who can we really judge, but it's just sort of just hard to say, I guess, but hopefully he stays sane, because it seems like if at least to me, if all shatters or if everything fails, who knows what's going to happen with him personally, how's he going to deal with it, and if that's going to spiral out of control, and all this conjecture around it's just going to really hit him harder than what it should. So hopefully he's gonna do right and stuff, but I don't know who's gonna do stuff like that. But one thing I want to add the podcast on this is public transport situation. Anyone that's listened to the podcast, even previously when it was just me and David and stuff like that, we talked numerous times about public transport and how it's just garbage. It's just terrible. It's shit. Just constant. There's always problems every week. It's ridiculous how many problems there are. Like, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. So basically, I was waiting for the bus at the bus stop, and this bus is already running 5 minutes late because you know why? It's a bus. That's what they do. Buses run late. That's what they function to do. Buses are never on time. They're either 3 minutes early or they're 10 minutes late. Like it. There's no real discrepancy between the two. They're not even near the target by any stretch of the imagination. Like, they're always early by a lot, or like I said, they're always late by a lot. So basically, this bus was late by a lot, and it was a pretty packed bus. And I was basically sitting at the front. People, and I think it's probably for most buses around the world, at the front is where all the old people sit, because one, is the most convenient, it's closest to the exits, and it's less for them to walk when they get on and off the bus. Logical, makes sense. That's where the old people sit. But yeah, basically we're on this bus, and this bus knows it's late. It's probably people are probably on the bus driver's ass for being late or whatever. So he's really rushing. He's trying to get through, weaving through traffic. Pretty scarily, like he was really scaring a lot of people in the bus and stuff. And basically, he was driving so fast that he got to a point where he was about to rear end the car, and he stopped so quickly at the end of he stopped so suddenly. I mean, that this old guy that was sitting at the front, like I said, just went flying. Like, when I mean flying, my dude went airborne. My guy went airborne in the sky. And if anyone's seen old people go flying or fall, whatever, old people always seem to fall like in slow motion. Like, they never fall at the same speed as a regular, or not regular, I shouldn't say regular, like the same speed as someone younger than them. They always they fall like when you watch an old person fall, you're like, that could have been prevented. Like, if I was falling like that, I could easily prevent that fall. But this old guy, I don't know if you can really prevent a fall when you're flying airborne from in the bus. But yeah, this guy goes airborne. He basically trips like next to this sort of sort of barrier, I guess it's sort of the best way to describe it. But he basically trips, he goes airborne, and he like sort of, it looked like, when you're trying to do a front flip or back flip and you make it about like 1/4 of the way, you just have no chance in your barrel. That's basically how this guy fell. Like he fell ridiculously hard on the ground on the bus, just like smack. Like he just like smack. Basically, yeah, this guy's just like, and this guy's old. He like, I would say probably in his 70s, if not 80s. This man's old, and he goes flying, and yeah, he smashes the everyone, and then everyone on the bus looks and goes, "Holy shit, what the fuck did we just watch?" And at that point, you sort of assume, everyone's had this reaction. You hear this guy yelling and screaming. All the passengers surrounding him are going, "Oh, anyone, we need help, blah, 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 blah." And, you would assume that the bus driver sort of walks out and be like, you know what? I'll tend to him, I'll help him out or whatever. But no, the bus driver keeps driving. This bus driver, I don't know if this guy need to go to this place or whatever, but this bus driver keeps pumping the pedal. He's going hard, and we're going downhill now. He's going fast, and this guy, like, I don't know what the surface was. He was sort of slipping on the surface. So it was getting really dangerous, and people were screaming ridiculously, going, "Stop the bus! Stop the bus! This guy needs help. He needs medical attention, blah, 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 blah." And, like, just all this commotion on the bus. And me, I was in sort of a situation. You know when you're sort of sitting on the end of the bus and then someone sits next to you, so you're sort of locked in? That was the sort of situation I am, Jordan, I would have helped out there. I would have been like, you know what? Boom, take my shirt off, CPR. Well, no, I would have done the whole medical stuff. You know how I am. You know how I do. But I wasn't able to, so, don't look at me. But yeah, basically, yeah, he went flying. He hit the pavement hard. He hurt himself badly. And the bus driver kept driving. And it wasn't until the next stop, which was actually at a bus stop, funnily enough, he stopped. And then all these people ran just towards the bus driver. The bus driver was about to get out, and I guess I would assume, head towards looking at the passenger that fell. But all the people went up to him and just cursing him out, saying, "Fuck you, fuck state transit, what the hell is this bullshit? You have a passenger that's injured, he needs help, he needs medical attention, you don't give a shit about him." And you could just tell this bus driver, like, deep down, did not give a shit. This bus driver, he had the speed sunnies on. He had the speedies on. He really couldn't give a rat's ass about this old man, which, I guess, I don't even know how to respond to a topic like that. Doesn't, acts like that or whatever. But, he sort of lackadaisical in the way he approached it. He goes, "Oh, you okay?" He sort of says, "Oh, I'm sorry, deep down in my heart, I didn't mean to do this. It was accidental. The car in front of me, blah, 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 did all this." But, this guy's still on the ground, super haze, probably concussed to a degree. And basically, yeah, he had to get taken off. A lot of the passengers, I guess, out of protest got off as well, which don't know how effective that is, because all the people still need to get to a destination. But if that's how you want to process, you can process like that. But one funny thing to add as well, like I said, they did stop at a bus stop. So like, he stops, he opens the doors for people to exit, and obviously people are gonna, be incoming as well. So there was a bunch of people incoming, and there was a guy with his headphones. He was sort of looking down on his phone, and he didn't realize, there was a person on the ground or whatever. So he was like walking, and he got really close to stepping on this old person, and then basically this old, I guess not old woman, but 50-year-old woman with a manager's haircut. We all know this woman, the typical manager's haircut. Manager's haircut's usually the one where it's just like just above the top of the neck, I guess. I could sort of describe, but basically just backhands this person's chest, just like, ooh, and this guy's like, "What the fuck?" And he's just like, "You nearly stepped on this old person. This person's on the ground. He needs medical attention." And then you could tell this guy's like, oh shit. But he still looked at the lady and goes, fuck you, what the hell? Yeah, you're harassing me. So, yeah. Public transport in Sydney. That's how you do it. But, yeah, sort of over an hour now. Like I said, thanks for everyone that sort of listened throughout. At the top, 100 reviews on iTunes in Australia, which, I don't know, some people might not think that's a lot, but that's a lot. That's apparently a lot, because a lot of big shows in Australia don't get that many ratings or reviews on iTunes. Apparently, the podcast listeners themselves are not really that interactive. So it's great to see that you guys are really, trying to support the show as well. 475 5-star reviews on US iTunes. If someone's listening, people, my UK fans or whatever, if you're listening, it would be great if you could send a screenshot or email me a screenshot of how many ratings we have in the UK, because I'm not able to really find that type of data either. But I guess overall, I'll close it out now. Again, interact with us, 23shotsofjd@gmail.com, or tweet us at 23shotsofjd. Again, expect some interesting stuff to happen with the podcast. I don't know soon or when it's going to be, but I definitely do want to explore some different avenues, or just really explore some different type of content, because obviously, I sort of mentioned in the last podcast, not with Ben, but when I was doing it solo, that the NBA off season's a bit dry, the NFL off season's a bit dry, just no college hoops, just like I said, who really wants to talk about baseball? Even though I love baseball, who really wants to talk about baseball? So, Also, give some feedback. If anyone's listening to the live podcast, I had one of my good friends Ben on it. It seemed to get a lot of great reviews and traction, and a lot of people like listening to it and stuff from what I can see. So if you really liked it and you want Ben to come back on, be sure to email me, or if you like that type of format where I bring on a friend or a guest or whatever, and we sort of converse like that, if that's something towards your interest as well. But hope you enjoyed the podcast. Bye.